Hey guys, sorry for being so close to the lens. Apparently these little things from Rode needs to be charged every once in a while, so that's why you're listening to the built-in microphone on my Canon camera. Anyway, we're out trying the Samyang, also known as the Rokinon 85mm T1.5 Cine Lens, and it's fast, it's sharp, and the bokeh is pretty creamy and nice. It's pretty affordable as well. The only thing that I'm a bit worried about is the level of chromatic aberration. But so far from the footage I've looked at on my computer, it hasn't been bad to the point that it actually bothered me, but who knows, that may change when I start looking at more of the footage and pixel peep a bit. I'm also using a monopod for the first time. I got this one from Innorel. It's been super nice, especially with an 85mm lens like this, because getting stable, smooth footage can be quite tricky, even if you have a camera with IBIS like the Fujifilm X-T4 right here. But anyway, let's look at some footage together. So after looking at some more footage, I'm actually quite impressed. After all, this is a $300 lens, and it's still got all the features of any other regular Cine lens, like a geared focus wheel and geared iris ring, and obviously a declicked aperture. And at T1.5, it's a surprisingly fast lens as well. Now, if you're planning on using this lens a lot outdoors, I would suggest to get a matte box, because it tends to fog up quite a bit and lose a lot of contrast if it gets a bit too bright in the environment. That said, if you move into the shadows or if you're shooting in a more controlled area, the lens holds up surprisingly well. Now, if you tried shooting video handheld with a 50mm without any lens stabilization, you know that it's damn near impossible to get nice looking smooth footage, even if you slow it down at times. Now, the 85 is even worse, so this is not a lens for all of you handheld run and gun shooters out there. And just to give you an example, here's a shot handheld with IBIS. Now, even if we slow it down to 40%, it's still unusable unless we add some stabilization in post. So I would recommend using some sort of camera support if you're shooting with an 85 like this. Now, this makes the 85 a little less versatile, I guess, but it's still a nice lens to have in your lens collection. Especially if you're doing things like interviews and you want to shoot your main angle with something like a 50mm, then an 85 would be a great option for that second angle. It's also a nice focal length for things like portraits, inserts, and even product shots. And speaking of product shots and finagling with the focus, here's a quick little test I did just to see how the focus breathing is on this lens. Sadly, I didn't have a second 85mm prime, so we're gonna compare it to an 80mm vintage lens. But it should be close enough to give us kind of a rough idea about the amount of focus breathing. And just to touch on the chromatic aberration that I talked about in the beginning of this video, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, and like you saw, there's ways you can kind of make it disappear in post if it becomes a problem. After all, we're talking about a $300 lens, so there's got to be compromises here and there, but it's not a bad lens. And I've done some research and looked at some side-by-sides with this lens and the Canon 85mm f1.8. And from those side-by-sides and tests, it actually looks like the Samyang or Rokinon is holding up a bit better when it comes to things like chromatic aberration. Anyway, thank you for stopping by. I hope you liked the video. Don't be afraid to give it a thumbs up or hit the subscribe if you want to see more videos. And I'm gonna put some more lens videos up on the end screen in just a second. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you here again soon. Okay, bye.